think about this.
Yes.
The percentage of the fund approach aligns Class Counsel's interest. So the class should want the attorney's interest to make as much money as possible.
Correct.
Because this is Byron Lazine and Nicole White, and you are tuned into episode 335 of The Real Word.
Word is up.
We're back in our CT studio together.
Yeah, am I sitting properly? Like we're close enough? I feel like I'm far away from you, but I feel great about it too.
I'm feeling good about it.
I'm happy
No
you're
split
here.
screen.
I prefer that you be here than have to look at you on a screen because it's
next week we
it's
might
very distracting.
might be here next week. I'll be here next week too.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's a surprise. What's going on?
Back-to-back weeks. Well, travel. I'm just got to keep an eye on things up here.
Sounds terrible.
You know? I got to keep an eye on things just like Ketchmark and the attorneys are keeping an eye on their money. Show me the bag.
Their money.
Housing Wire reports that the plaintiff's attorney is seeking $220 million from NAR and Home Services Commission lawsuit settlements. So there's these settlements, and that's separate from all the other settlements. Okay, So this is just one piece of the pie. The attorneys claim that they spent more than 100,000 hours and $16 million out of pocket in working on the commission lawsuits since 2019. If you remember, these lawsuits started all the way back then.
$16 million. Like, what are you doing?
So $16 million gets added on top.
Correct.
Okay, so in a filing in the Sitzer Burnett suit on Friday, the Class Counsel notified the court that it wants 1/3 of the $679.275 million settlement from the two parties. This is just the two parties.
Right.
Yes. Yep. That equals roughly $226,425,000. They are also seeking, in
addition,
for out-of-pocket costs and expenses, which they claim total more than $16 million. The counsel notes that they spent this money without any guarantee for success.
So in my mind, I would think that would already be included in what you're now charging, right?
Yeah. No, they have these individual hourly rates. So
I get it. It just seems.
So the way they do it in attorney land is one of the partners. So there's multiple law firms. There's Ketchmark and McWright. Ketchmark is the name you always hear, Michael Ketchmark. He was the voice of the lawsuit. He was the lead plaintiff attorney. He has a partner, apparently, McWright. So their law firm is Ketchmark and McWright. Williams, Dirk, Cameron, another law firm. Cohen, Milstein, Sellers, and Toll is another law firm. Boulware Law, Hagens, Berman, Sobel, Shapiro, and then Suzman Godfrey. So those are all the law firms that worked together that are claiming they spent this 107,500 hours on the cases since the original commission lawsuits were filed. Then for the individual attorneys, they have their own hourly rates.
Right.
So Dirks Cameron earns an hourly rate of $1,250. The paralegals under Dirks Cameron earn $300 per hour. And one associate spent more than 2,000 hours on the cases. That's a quarter of a year.
Yeah.
2,000 hours.
Right.
Earns
$600 an hour.
$600 an hour for an associate. I don't know what the associate does versus the paralegal.
Well, the
associate attorney?
Correct.
Okay, I got you.
Don't you watch Suits?
No, I see the clips on Suits.
Oh, you got to watch Suits. You really don't need to watch past season 3, but like
it just starts boring you.
Yeah, most shows do. Yeah. By season 3, you've done everything. Everyone has slept with everyone. Like the scandals are done.
There's the one guy in the clips I see that was also in Billions. He was like he wore like a jumpsuit. He was working with like Chuck Rhodes doing something. I don't know his name, but he's interesting.
Okay.
All right, Ketchmark, his hourly rate is $1,450. Okay, so For him, he spent nearly 7,000 hours on the case, a full year.
Right.
Essentially.
Yep.
And he's looking a full year straight. That's without sleep.
Of course.
It's not like sleep, and so it's like a full year worth
sleeping
of
is
hours.
Overrated.
What is it? What is a full year of hours? I think that's roughly.
For sleep?
Not with sleep. I'm just saying like 365 times 24, top of the head. What do you think that is? That's 8,700. He did nearly 7,000. So almost a full year, no sleep. His hours total. He gets $14.50 an hour. So for him personally, his personal paycheck, he's looking to recoup $10.1 million. Then there's money that goes to his firm. So there's all of that. The attorney, though, with the highest hourly rate involved is Sussman Godfrey, who charges $2,200 per hour. That's Sussman. I want Sussman Godfrey.
I'm ready. Hire me. My kid's about to graduate. You hiring?
So they all have different levels. Apparently, Sussman Godfrey is more of a god than Michael Ketchmark. I mean, more
very interesting. Well,
I
mean, unless they were working the most because he was like the face.
I guess. I mean, maybe Sussman is just more, experienced. I don't know.
I don't know why. Then why didn't Sussman demand more?
The filing noted that the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals has previously ruled that attorneys' fees of 25% to 36% of total settlement amounts are appropriate for class action suits. So this one is on the higher end of this because it's a third.
Right.
It's about 33%. Here's a quote from the filing. The percentage of the fund approach aligns class counsel's interests with those of the class, because the greater the recovery class counsel obtains, the greater the fee to which the class counsel is entitled. Isn't that interesting?
All I hear is greater.
Well,
greater.
Think about this.
Yes.
The percentage of the fund approach aligns class counsel's interest. So the class should want the attorney's interest to make as much money as possible.
Correct.
Because that aligns the class counsel and the class, because the greater that number, the greater the recovery the class counsel obtains, the greater the fee to which class counsel is entitled.
Right.
Isn't that interesting?
I mean,
if you're listing a home and you're like, hey, Mr. Seller, how do we get the most money? Well, there's a strategy where we can take expenses off the buyer, where we can make sure that we drive the value that you want so high that it sets a record in this neighborhood. And in the end, I will be incentivized because the more money that you make on your home,
right,
the bigger my percentage is worth. Now, it's not a third of the total home sale, but it's, maybe a couple points, 2.5 points, 3 points, something like that. But isn't that the same? Well,
I think that's what I feel like everyone's been arguing that. Like, hello? Like, now it's time to go after your business.
I think that's like the same thing, that incentives work. DOJ.
Right.
DOJ wants some type of
but what's really interesting here is that they made a note. The council knows that they spent this money without any guarantee for success. I mean, that's every day of our lives.
Really?
Every day of our lives.
Do you ever take photos and
not sell a property? That has happened.
Do you do videos?
Yes.
And floor plans?
Yes.
And drone photography?
With zero guarantee.
Google ads and YouTube ads.
Yeah.
And do you do Facebook ads? Do you do... what else do you do?
Time.
You spend time.
There's time. You're doing time.
Yes. I thought you had nothing to do all day.
Nothing. I do nothing. Yes.
Okay, so you make an investment without a guarantee to success. Now, seems like they're very similar.
Right.
Seems like attorneys and real estate agents and brokers have a very similar deal. Like, hey, I'm incentivized to go do great work to win my deal, to win a listing, to get the listing sold, to go and do work on a case, to win a case. If they were to lose
to compensate for my time.
If they were to lose this case, because they take it with the risk of that $16 million that they spent and all the hours,
right,
just being a loss.
Right.
Why would they do that, Nicole? And why would a real estate agent risk spending all this money on a listing that is, somebody went crazy. They went super unique. They did something out of the ordinary for the neighborhood. And why would an agent take that oddity of a listing, and why would an attorney take a big suit and invest time, money and a commitment to these deals without the guarantee of success? Why would each party do that?
Oh boy. I
mean, why would you take a listing?
Well, I mean, because that's my job. That's my job.
But what else? What else? It could bring you.
I guess where I'm confused by all of it, and again, I'm hearing where you're going here, because I mean, obviously, you want to show that you will win. You want to show that you win. You want to show that you'll sell that house for the most money possible with your and
it brings you other opportunities.
100%. Yeah, and again, the same thing with the attorney. So it's like
Ketchmark got a lot of free PR.
Oh, I'm sure of it.
I don't think the amount of PR he got, you could have gotten that for $16 million. He ended up getting the PR. These other. Because he's the lead, these other attorneys maybe didn't benefit from that. But, he's going to get other opportunities, whether they, the win is greater, obviously, than the L.
For sure.
The opportunities become bigger.
I mean, I'm sure you're not walking into it, though, thinking that you're losing either. I mean,
they knew they were going to win.
You're doing what you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're spending the money that you're supposed to be spending. You're investing in it, knowing that when you do sell or you do win, you will be compensated for it. Yeah. And again, in the end, it does even out. I mean, do you lose some? Of course. Do some properties not sell? Absolutely. But for them to then charge extra, we're not even charging extra after the fact, you know?
No, they charge extra. It's like our costs are all built in. Sometimes you can do a deal at, 2%, 2.5%, 3%, whatever. And you can lose money on a deal based on if, you're calculating your hours.
Absolutely.
Like this.
Or if it's you got it as a referral, then you have a referral. I mean, there's so many additional.
The referral fees can be 40%.
Yeah,
so now you're talking about 60%.
Or if it's a reload, everyone's taking money out of that.
Or if there's some type of concession back to one of the parties, there's no concession here. It's just really unfortunate the way Michael Ketchmark in particular has addressed real estate agents with this, looking down on them because, he went to law school, he's better than all of us. That is a feeling that when you listen to him talk, I mean, for somebody who put 7,000 hours on the case, when you hear him on mainstream media, he doesn't come across as somebody who's now enlightened by the 7,000 hours. He comes across with a real hatred towards agents, doesn't think highly of them, speaks very poorly of them, puts agents down. And it comes across here in the complete, how contradictory is this? Where it's we should work for incentives, but then doesn't believe the agents have any right to basically work for an incentive. Has the gall to be we're completely, because the 8th Circuit Court Appeals has previously ruled that our fees are worth a third than they are. Well, the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals ruling that attorneys' fees between 25 and 36% of a total settlement are appropriate for class action suits. That sounds like price fixing to me.
Well, right. I mean, that's exactly what we went to court for.
Why can't your fees be 10%? It does sound when I hear $2,200 an hour, like you're ripping people. I mean, my God, how big would the commissions be if we're making $2,200 an hour?
Let's go.
Right?
Yeah.
You're talking. You just closed. Nicole just closed a $4.5 million deal.
I definitely did not.
How many years was that going on for? And then, what do you think you made per hour on that? Let's do the math. Because there was a renegotiation on commission to the developer, so the commission was renegotiated. It was very.
Are we really doing the math?
How many hours do you think you put on that? I mean, how many years was that under contract for?
Under contract? Well, I mean, are we talking about the whole development? Or are you just talking about that one unit?
Just the penthouse.
Probably 2 years.
The penthouse was under contract for 2 years.
Probably, at least a year and a half.
Did you put brain power, conversations, negotiations, all these different types of things into since under contract, not even leading up to getting it sold.
That was just it.
So just
because this is the
so
third.
we're not even talking about
the marketing and the
all
people
that.
coming to open houses and you trying to sell them on the unit,
And bringing them up to the elevator. Oh my
Let's
gosh,
go.
the elevator
Each
goes
showing
right into
takes
the
at
unit.
least an hour. Yeah,
All the showings, so you don't even forget about that.
Forget about it.
You just
that's
like
for fun. I love hanging
You like
out
doing
there.
that anyways. I'm just talking about from under contract to close 2 years. Did every single week there was something to address with this deal? Because it was a contentious
It was, yeah.
deal. There was some things going on.
Yeah, I
there.
mean, I think I will say though, I think what is really great about new construction is that the builder does, for the most part, take on most of that. So we're really doing the math on this.
So I'm just saying, marketing dollars aside, because you like to donate, all the showings, the 1 hour showings, we're going to say that that's free. Let's just say that 1 hour a week for 2 years.
That's 100 hours.
So that's 104 hours at the $2,200. That would have been $228,000.
Yeah. Do you know how much I made off that deal?
You didn't even make 28,000.
I didn't even make 28,000. I didn't even make 20,000.
So there you go. There's one way to look at it. And then you would have sent over a check for, I don't know, maybe another 15,000 of marketing,
Well, then, I mean, the IRS wants
and,
some money.
Well, that goes without saying. They'll want money from these guys too. But yeah, there's some price fixing. That's never gonna.
I mean, even at $1,000 an hour,
1,000, you'd have been good with that. You would have been good with that.
Yeah.
All right. And listen, this is not that conversation there about that particular penthouse. We have a great relationship with
Incredible
that developer.
relationship. Yeah.
We have a great deal going on there.
Yeah.
We negotiated on that unit.
But that deal alone just goes to show that there is negotiations all the time.
We
negotiated 5 years ago. We negotiated 2 years ago.
Technically,
we negotiated 4 months ago.
That property was under contract. We renegotiated a new contract
Correct.
with the developer. And through our renegotiation, we decided as a group, hey, let's go ahead and put this commission on this big deal lower. It's going to help the developer move forward. It's going to help us with goodwill with him in the future.
It just shows that it's like negotiations are never, ever done.
Are really any of the units like the same exact, even in the same seller, we have different commissions on different units.
Right.
They've been very different. I mean, you've made more money off of a $2-something million sale than the 4.5. And so there's all these, the developer says, hey, here are my numbers on this particular deal. I'm getting hurt on this unit.
What can we do? Like, we're a group, we're like a community, like.
I'm doing better on this unit. And so we renegotiate those things
all the time
in real time and all of that.
That's where it's just so unfair and so sad that they're just assuming that we're all just sitting here acquiring all this money.
Yeah. And
that we're taking it out on them.
The the Eighth Circuit Court of Appeals. I had some trouble talking on the hot sheet this morning too.
Do you need water? Maybe you need to switch to water instead of coffee.
The Eighth Circuit Court of Appeals saying that, hey, attorneys should get 25 to 36% of the total settlement. You're not going to change the court system, okay? The judges have conversations in the back rooms with attorneys.
Right.
I'm not saying that happened here. I'm not alleging misconduct. I'm just saying that there are, I mentioned billions or watch billions. Judges and attorneys have backroom discussions. There is a system, the legal system, that both attorneys and the courts don't want to see messed with.
Right.
They don't want somebody coming in, some politician coming in and flipping it upside down on them because they make a lot of money off of it.
Yeah.
And ultimately, they have a lot of power in the communities that they live in. They can wield that power in a number of different directions. And so
and it just goes to show in this situation too.
Oh, yeah. And the filing goes on to state that as courts have recognized, it incentivized counsels to continue pursuing additional claims beneficial to the class, even whereas here, counsel have already obtained substantial recoveries for the class. Like, hey, we can go get more And the attorneys always go back to this. The courts say we can do it. Okay. And so for us, where you had, compensation on the MLS, the courts have now said we can't.
Right.
One thing the courts aren't going to do is ever say that the attorneys can't go out and just get gobs of money. When you hear that an attorney who's making 33% is saying that agents who are making 2.5% are ripping people off, you just have to step back and scratch your head and be like, dude, are you gaslighting? Are you serious?
Right.
Are you being serious with what you're saying? The final approval date for NAR and home service settlement is slated for November 26th. If I'm NAR, I'm not doing anything. I've said this before with DOJ until after that date. So I think we covered the bases there. What's interesting? Serhant did also on Housing Wire did an interview. And the last question on this interview, there was no video, but there was a question answer post that they made or an article. Is that the reporter said, is there anything you are advising your agents to do moving forward in the light of the settlement? And Serhant's answer was, first and foremost, you have to have a clear understanding of what your value proposition is to buyers that want to work with, that you want to work with. And I think that's another thing. Talked about it with the agents this morning. Like, you're applying for the job. You're going in there and saying, hey, I'm here. Here's my value. But I'm also making a decision if I want to work with you.
Correct.
That gives you all of a sudden more, whoa, this person's going to make a decision on me. It's kind of like how Lee, who's our ISA, he always used, when he would be at an open house, to be like, can I just work with you? He'd be like, no, I'm just a listing agent.
Right.
And then they'd be begging him to work with him. It's like, if you try to chase that girl in high school, she's not going to be interested because it reeks of desperation.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas
but if you're a total jerk to her,
or maybe not a jerk, but just
say no.
Act not that interested.
Right.
It builds more interest than somebody who's like chasing after the girl.
Well, I mean, hopefully though, at the end though, you do have to have value too. That once someone is, don't just say no just because you think they're going to then want you.
Right. I mean, so you've got to know what you've got. If you've got the goods, you can play that game a little bit more aggressively than somebody else. So, why should people work with you instead of them just going to Zillow? Remember, 3 out of 4 consumers are using the Zillow app. And so Ryan asked the question, they're like, know the answer to that. Why should people work with you versus jumping on Zillow? I was golfing with one of our lender partners, and
recently, like yesterday.
No, I wish I didn't bring my clubs up.
I was like, wow, this is really turning into a trip.
Gave the clubs a little timeout.
Ooh.
Down in Florida.
Your hands are a little rest.
I get a little.
You get a little callousy. I don't know.
There, but I got soft hands.
Okay.
Naturally soft.
Naturally, I'm sure.
So we're golfing. We're with his buddy, who's a finance guy, and we're talking because he's a partner with us with our Realtor.com. Shout out to Realtor.com and our MVP relationship there. And he's like, why do you guys do that? He's from finance. He just didn't understand. He's like, why are you guys generally? He goes, don't most people that are searching for homes already have an agent? I'm like, no, most don't. In fact, most of the, connections that we have on Realtor.com, especially Realtor.com, because they do a really good job vetting.
Yeah, they do.
They don't have an agent or they get kicked back, and they're not looking for a rental or they get kicked into a different category. So they're looking to buy a house and meet an agent that can help them with that. And so, Ryan said, why should people work with you instead of just going to one of these portals? Okay. Once you meet somebody, you need to make it clear where you can take it to the next level.
Right.
Okay. Beyond that experience. And so he just couldn't believe it. He's like, wow, so there's people that search for homes that are looking for home first, agent second.
And then help after, yeah.
Yeah, all the time, right? I mean, we see that all the time. So you got to be able to articulate that really, really clearly. I think most people, he says, look at them, so the Serhant brand, as a sell-side firm. I think our pitch to sellers is easy. We can put our listing in front of more eyeballs than any other firm combined, times 150. Obviously, that's his opinion.
Of course.
We can do it with a click of the button. And if you're going to pay a real estate agent, why not work with one that's going to get your house in front of the most qualified buyers than anyone else? And on the buy side, how can you have access to the most inventory? I really believe in that. And that's, last week, if you missed the row, we were talking about the cooperation, clear cooperation. Yep. How can you have access to the most inventory? How do you have the most information? When we talk about how many conversations as an agent that you're having on a day, how many conversations with the agents locally do you have? Like, Nicole's been known to have a liquid lunch, once in a blue moon.
It's more of like a liquid dinner.
With a liquid dinner. Yeah. With a, we stopped the liquid lunches.
Yeah, we had. I mean, you had to. Back in the day.
But yeah, you'll have a drink here and there, or chat it up with a agent who's not with us,
or
another
like
agent.
You see someone that has a sale, like you're reaching out.
Hey, what's going on? Oh, I see you have it coming soon. Tell me the background.
Right.
So you're naturally investigating the community that you sell in.
Correct.
On a daily basis, because you're also keeping an eye out. Maybe there's an investment opportunity. Maybe there's something for one of your investors or buyers or clients. Maybe, more information, more data.
Right.
So that you can separate yourself as a clear expert. And so it also gives you the most inventory access, where it's like, somebody's thinking about this, and I can match people up.
Right.
And so there you go. That's just two different pieces, but I thought that last answer kind of connected to what we're talking about there. Little update on what we talked about with the clear cooperation.
There is an update.
Well, there's NAR put out an article.
I mean, it was a paragraph.
To be fair, there's spaces between the sentences, so there's like 4 or 5 paragraphs. They could have just done one sentence, okay?
I mean, that's essentially what they did.
The advisory board intends to reconvene in October to consider the rule further. I mentioned this on Knowledge Brokers Pod on Friday.
They put spaces between each sentence.
Yes. It was all it's how I text or how I write an email. One sentence, space. One sentence, space.
See, I do one sentence send. One sentence send.
Oh, you're the bubble blaster.
I'm terrible. I need to stop.
Just berating people.
My problem is if you send it all at once, like you only kind of see, and then you think that there's not anything else in addition to it. But if I send now I need you to read all 5 instead of...
I know, but then I get nervous because it's like, are they going to see the other 4 on top of the, if you send me 5 texts in a row.
They didn't go all the way up?
Did they go all the way up?
I just don't like the one text, because if you look at it, you see the first line, you're like...
You might not open it.
You think that that's all that it is.
You're like me, where you just don't open text messages.
Right. And then I'm like, oh, so I got the gist. And then when I go back to it, I'm like, oh, damn, I missed the fact that my mom is in the emergency room. Because
Hey, Nicole, hope you're having a great day.
Yes. Hey, Nick,
My day's not so good.
Yes.
I'm headed to the hospital right now.
But I wouldn't put it past Nance, you know?
She's a racket.
She really is.
It's a big part of the show. So the other part of this, I guess, is that, and I mentioned it Friday, Robert Refkin's putting a lot of pressure. He's got, we have an article on nowbam.com. He's got near 100 or near 70. I had a text saying, over 100 brokerages aligning with him to push back and get this rule dropped. Obviously, there's some other big CEOs on the other side of that, but you can go check out last week's Real Word or Friday's Knowledge Brokers to get more on that. We're not going to have a ruling or decision till earliest October on that. Make sure you get your BAM Mania tickets, peeps. Nicole's coming.
What's the date?
Nicole's undecided. No, she's coming.
What's the date?
October 17th and 18th.
October 17th
Las
and 18th.
Vegas. Go to BAMmania.com. Check out the speaker list. This is the room you want to be in.
Do you like block off rooms? Do you like block off rooms for these folks?
We have a room block.
Love it.
What other questions do you have, Nicole?
That's it.
Because you usually have good questions.
Well, I just
There's 2 parties. 17th
I like the parties,
and 18th.
yeah.
Legacy Club on the 17th. 18th at Stadium Swim.
So is it best for them to come in the day of or the day before, or stay a day late?
If you're VIP, you get all the sessions on the 17th and obviously the whole event on the 18th. If you're general admission, you get the pre-party on the 17th. So definitely come at least the morning of the 17th if you're not doing VIP.
Yeah, I would try to. I mean, we're going all the way across country. I mean,
make it a weekend.
You gotta.
It's a Thursday, Friday thing.
I hate doing red eyes too. suck wind
You stay the
afterwards.
weekend.
You
Do a
gotta.
little weekend party.
I've never been.
You know, never been to Vegas.
Never.
Oh my God.
Haven't we been through this already?
Shocker.
Is it?
BAMMania.com. Get your tickets. We'll see you guys next week. Keep it real.
See you guys.
August 17th approaching. It is more important than ever for agents to keep their clients, not just for the transaction, but for life. So I believe so much in what Reminder Media is doing. They're creating content that allows you to stay in front of your sphere of influence, the clients that you've transacted with in the past, so that they think of you first when they have a referral, when they have another transaction. A lot of people send a just sold or a just closed realtor talk mail. Reminder Media supports agents like Nicole, my co-host on The Real Word, in building out an authentic magazine where you can advertise your own properties. Here's an example of our award-winning luxury new development that we have in Connecticut. Put it right on the back and put in a whole bunch of relevant information. You can build out the content inside of your magazine and send it to maybe people you're following up with to get a listing, or people who are in your database right now who know you but might just forget about you because you're mixing in with all the postcards from the other agents. Reminder Media keeps you top of mind with the people that you want as clients for life. That's why we believe in so much of how they're helping agents just like you stand out. Go to remindermedia.com/BAM sample. Remindermedia.com/BAM sample today to get your sample and start reminding your clients exactly who you are today. At BAMX, we listen to what real estate professionals want and need. That's why our platform is filled with sought-after courses, content, and tactical assets for your business. And that's why we launched BAMX in a box with templates and scripts done for you, delivered each Friday. The best part? It's not coming from panel pontificators who bought their followers and don't sell any real estate. It's coming from top agents, team leaders, and content creators in the industry. It's education that actually shows you how to do what you need in today's market. And now it includes editable templates and scripts so you can easily deliver that knowledge to your database. Every day, we continue to add more content into BAMX, into our private Facebook community, content that works, content that our members have exclusive access to daily. So do not wait any longer. Use code REALWORD and join the thousands of agents taking their business to the next level today. Code REALWORD for 10% off. I'll see you in BAMX.